Hello, welcome to another Touchy Gooners podcast. My name's Lewis. I'm joined by the two Dans, and we got Shabs. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah,
All
I'm good, man.
Shabs, you got your usual mic back. Good to hear it, man. You're sounding crisp. You know, we need to hear you crisp on the vocals.
Yeah, no one told me last week, but yeah, man. Yeah, apologies, but yeah, there we are.
Yeah, that's what happens when I give when I hand out the hosting duties to Dan. Do you know what I mean? That ain't got a pattern like me. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, man,
It's not easy. This hosting thing's not easy. It's not for everyone. Do you know what I mean?
I'm monitoring Shab's audio settings. You get me? Yeah, that's up to him to do.
Shocking behavior. Shocking behavior. Absolutely shocking. Anyway, big up everyone watching live. We're going live on YouTube. We do that most weeks with the podcast. So if you're interested in, catching us live, you can catch it on the YouTube or the Twitter page. We go most Wednesdays around 9, 10, 8 p.m. Depends, Love Island season is more around 10 o'clock, because German Dan's got to get his Love Island fixed. You know what I mean? More
this guy is making me sick already, man.
Don't worry, we got something cooking for Lewis. We got something cooking for him.
Gotta get my shots off before, Gotta land the damage before you guys land on me. That 8 Mile shit. But we've also released a few Patreon pieces recently. So big up all you Patreons, and if you do like the extra Touchy Goonies content, the one podcast a week isn't enough for you. The Patreon is right there for you to go and subscribe to, just for a little fee. Helps us support what we do and everything we do at Touchline Fracas as well. So go and become a Patreon and help support what we do and just get a little bit extra Touchy Gooners fix. Obviously we've been off for a few weeks. We don't have not too much in the way of news going on in recent weeks, but it's nice to see that after being bantered in the in the summer about only having 4 players at the Euros or whatnot, we're now seeing quite a lot more players make it into their respective national teams. Obviously not great for us because I don't really like our players coming back with injuries and stuff from these international breaks, but it is quite nice to see some of our players get the respect and the acclaim that they are playing for their countries, such as England. We had 3 players play for England this week? Ramsdale, Saka, and Smith-Rowe. When was the last time that happened? That we had 3 Arsenal players, playing for England.
2015, I think. 2015, 2016.
What, starting in the same game?
Well,
yeah, 2014, I think it was.
Was it? Welbeck, Wilshere, and Ox.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought it would have been before that. I would have thought 90s, maybe Tony Adams, Seaman, and Merson or something like that.
Same. I remember when he was on his Great British flex again, when he signed up Jenkinson, Chambers, all of that I can't remember what they were called. But
the English core, yeah.
The English core.
The English core. Yeah.
That was a weak ass core, boy. That was that core was
political, man.
Yeah,
very political.
I was gonna say a very bad joke, but
he suffered, man.
Yeah. But who managed to catch the England game anyway? I can't say San Marino away was the top of my agenda on, was it Sunday evening? I can't say that was quite at the top of my agenda, but I saw some of the goals and our boys got on the score sheet. Another clean sheet for Ramsdale. Listen, we can't argue with it, eh? You can't argue with it. England is red. England is red. But Dan, as the non-Englishman, German Dan, I'm talking to, as a non-Englishman, how are you feeling about this emergence of talent coming into the England team from Arsenal? How does that make you feel as a German national? Do you get any particular buzz out of it?
No, get no buzz out of it, to be honest.
You wish they had played for Germany?
Nah, not really. I like them playing for their country. I think what I said in the summer was I was running. I think maybe you were on my wave as well. I think there were a few of us that were arguing there's no way we have a European tournament going on, and we only, I don't know what the number was, but it was not many Arsenal players
I think
getting
it was
called up.
4.
Yeah, it was very low, and I was like, and we were comparing it to like other teams in the Premier League. We're like, look where I think Chelsea had like 15 called up. I was like, look where Chelsea are. Look how many national team players they have. They play a role for the national sides, like big players, big personalities for the national team, and we have 4. And the 4 that we have, like I think only Xhaka played a big role. Leno was warming the bench. Tierney played a big role. So Tierney, Xhaka, Leno. Who was the other one?
Not too sure.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a starter.
No, not Odegaard. No.
Yeah, I don't think it was
no.
I don't think it was I don't think it was a player that starts for Arsenal. So I was like, this is appalling, man. Like if you're playing for Arsenal, you should be one of the best in your position. Who was it?
It was Ben White, I think he was, but he didn't get any minutes in it.
Oh, okay.
He was taken as a 26th man jumper for England. So.
No, but we weren't counting him as one of the Arsenal players.
I think he was signed before the Euros, wasn't he? Wasn't he? Okay.
No.
Anyway, like my point was like, there's no way you should be a starter at Arsenal and play no role, like not even be close to selection for your national team. When you a right back who's Spanish, Bellerin doesn't have 10 caps for Spain. He's been at Arsenal for years. That's very, very poor. And you got to think that, like Spain
Saka, obviously Saka.
Oh, okay, Saka. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So it's like, okay, and Saka is a young boy as well. So I wasn't sure how much of a role he's going to play at the Euros. Then I was looking at our centre backs. Our centre backs not getting called up at all. At the time, it was Murray and Holding mainly starting, not national team players. Okay, Leno is number 2 behind Neuer. Our left back Tierney, okay, he's a big player for Scotland. Then in midfield, I'm looking, okay, Partey is a big player for his nation. And who else was in midfield? Xhaka is a big player for his nation. And then we go into the attacking areas, and none of these players, apart from Aubameyang, play a big role for the national team. And Gabon,
Odegaard does, I guess.
Team. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Odegaard.
I mean, all we hear about
he wasn't signed then. He wasn't signed then, though.
Andorra.
Yeah, but Norway, and Norway's not a top nation at all either.
Yeah, so it's like I'm looking at guys like I said, if we having someone that's cost 50 M's, he's French, he should be in the national team, you know. So that's when it was quite clear for us that a lot of the guys that we have are just simply not good enough. And it's good to see, you know, a progression in that part, that we have now a keeper that plays a role for his country, that we have 2 young Englishmen who play a role for their country. Tomiyasu plays a role for his country. Ben White will probably play a role for his country too. Lokonga is getting called up to the Belgium team. He's playing a role for his country to some degree, you know. We had players that were not even scratching the surface of the national team. They were never being considered. So I think we're making slow progression there. And I think Nuno Tavares is probably also going to at some point play a role for his country. So I think that is definitely positive. And yeah, I'm happy with that overall. And yeah, it's good to see them. I think especially for the guys that come through the academy, Smith Rowe and Saka, we all like them a lot. So it was great for them to play together. Both get a goal. You know, it was a great story. Shame it was only San Marino, but they're left with something, you know, and I like that.
They definitely left with something. Shabs, what about yourself? How does it make you feel like having like some Arsenal, you know, academy players coming through and then playing for, you know, not only making an impression for us and, you know, being key players for us, but, you know, also making an impression on the national team as well?
I'm not gonna lie, the games were absolutely trash, you know. I'm gonna keep it a buck. But even before, I mean, I think ESR done well to get the call up. Like personally, so if we're thinking bigger picture, I think the call up was deserved. I'm glad that he had his cameo. He came off the bench in the first game, and in the second game he started. He deserved to start. He played well, got his assist, got his goal. I like the fact that what I like about ESR is where he's scoring his goals from as well. So I was talking about it, getting into the box. He scored like that against Leicester. Someone said, I think Dan Koogs, you said, or maybe it was Sean, said he scored from a similar position against Tottenham as well. So I like that about him, man. This is what we all spoke about, saying these are things that he can add to his game. He's added it to his game for Arsenal, and he's got his first glimpse of international football, and he's added it to his game straight away for England. I think if he gets more caps and appearances for England, I think easily he can be like a major player in that side. And I say that knowing that the competition was dead, but I think even against sterner opposition, I think ESR can do some stuff, man, and he can definitely stat pad for England, 100%.
Yeah. Dan, just how important is it to have like these, more players in the national team? Did you agree with German Dan's point about, it's indicative of squad quality when you don't have, lots of players playing for their country or, participating at a major tournament?
Yeah, I think it is. I think unless your squad is comprised of, guys like Hleb or something like that, where they play for a small nation that don't really go to tournaments, I think it's always good as a top team to have a lot of your players going away to these national tournaments because it helps you as a team, especially if their teams are going far, to develop that winning mentality, to develop that play in those high pressure situations of knockout football, of group stage football, and in front of crowds where there's pressure on them to perform because things are on the line. When you're playing in that England team now, Saka, age 19, in a final with the pressure on him to take a penalty or something like that, I don't think that experience you can put a price on that experience. Even though obviously, unfortunately, he didn't score it. England went out. That's one of our squad players being a key player in a side going to a final, potentially lifting a trophy. Other than the FA Cup, and I think he didn't really play in the semi-final or the final. He's not had any experience like that for Arsenal. So you look at some of those players in the French squad, Mbappe, what he did at 19, Paul Pogba, World Cup winner, Mesut Ozil, Per Mertesacker, World Cup winners. Those guys, they add experience, they add value to the team. So, I do think it was a big issue for us that, none of our squad was ever going to do anything at the Euros. They weren't really gonna go far other than Saka. And I think if you're looking at Qatar, having someone like Ramsdale pushing Pickford for the #1 spot, England right now are one of the best teams in the world. They're probably one of the favourites for that tournament as well, so they should be aiming for another semi-final place, and having the likes of Smith Rowe, Saka, Ramsdale, hopefully Ben White gets himself in that squad as well in the near future, having them in and around that camp in those high pressure situations, playing against the best players in the world when Arsenal themselves haven't really been in the Champions League, don't really have those comparable situations. I think you can't really put a price on that XP, and because we're investing in this young squad, getting those experiences into those players' legs, into their heads, into their mentality very early in their career will always bode well later down the line. So even if you're looking at our season right now, I think something like the League Cup is something that we should be taking very, very seriously. If you look at some of these Sir Alex Ferguson squads back in the day, the League Cup and Jose Mourinho as well, Pep Guardiola, the League Cup is some of the first trophies that they've won with their teams in England, and it sort of inspired them to go on and have that winning mentality. I think when you look back to under Wenger, if Arsenal had won that League Cup in 2008 or 2011, maybe certain things would be different, in how we view that young side. If the likes of Nasri, Fabregas, Van Persie won a trophy together, maybe we can do more to keep that squad together. And especially in 2011, where I think they were top of the league in February or something like that, they lose that League Cup final in sort of devastating Mana, Chesney, Koscielny, you know, in that embarrassing goal. If you're able to lift that trophy, you maybe then are spurred on to win the league. You keep that core together, and Arsenal go on and win more as a group. You know, so I do think that tournament experience, big game experience, is invaluable, especially for young players.
Yeah, 100%. And we should have quite a lot going to this World Cup. Unfortunately, I think Pepe won't be going. Ivory Coast, they didn't qualify. Norway,
yeah. Let's talk about that, man. As I said, players that play a role for the national team. This Pepe guy, yeah, is sitting on the bench for Ivory Coast. This is serious business, man.
When they're 1-0 down, they're 1-0 down, need a goal to qualify for World Cup. My man is sitting there watching Max Gradle captain the team.
Do you think that says a lot more about the? Do you think that says more about the coach than Pepe, though?
Brother, no. I don't know, because we've seen his brother in the flesh. So
I can't lie. Even if Arsenal was 1-0 down, I would still want to bring Pepe on. You know, it's good for a goal, isn't it?
Brother, I don't know, man.
No,
I'm seeing Newcastle rumors, bro. Yeah.
Bring them Newcastle rumors. Listen, Newcastle, big man.
I think it's true though. I think it's true. I think we can run jokes, we can run agendas. We all know, you know, Pepe is not the player any of us thought he would be. But the truth is, if he's good for anything, it's the potential to get a goal. He does possess some sort of goal threat. So
boy, yeah, it sounds like to me like you got some stocks over there, bro. You better sell it now, bro.
No, I'm calling it. I'm calling it as it is, man. We know that, man. We know that. We've seen.
Can't lie, man. I even think I'm not doing this.
But no, I agree mostly with what you're saying. Like, you know, I'm not in dispute. For me, it's bad. It's bad optics. It's bad him coming off the bench and doing what he done at 1-0. And you know, you look at him and you just see he cuts a very frustrating player. He's not that guy, and I think people have to accept. People just have to accept it. We've taken a fat L with this one. We've just got to hold it. You know what I mean? And just pray that there's a way out for him. But still, for me, come on, man. Like, he's good to come off the bench at least and get a goal. Whether it's for Ivory Coast or Arsenal, he should be. He did
come off the bench though, didn't he? He did.
Yeah, he came off the bench.
Like, I can't lie to you. I'm at a point where like the words Pepe and good, like they're just. I can't put them in the same sentence and be like, I just did, but I don't want to, bro. I can't. I shouldn't.
Yeah. What about Nigeria, lads? How are they getting on? They qualifying for the World Cup?
Yeah, we got.
I'm seeing 1-1 draws against Cape Verde.
That's all we needed, man. That's all we needed.
It's a honeymoon destination, you know.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I saw that. My man started Igalo and not Kelechi. I said, nah, man. I said, I ain't watching this shit, man.
The coach is nasty, man.
I ain't watching this, man.
That's kind of... So what happened? Nigeria in like a playoff, is it? Or
yeah, all the African teams have to go to a playoff. There's no automatic spots.
Do you know
who 10 teams now
play? Or
no, the draws in December, but we're in pot one. We're in pot one.
Okay. Any dangerous teams in pot two?
I think
silent too much, bro.
I think Cameroon are in pot two. I think Mali are in pot two.
How Jamaica looking for the qualifications? I see Antonio slapping one in.
Boy,
I mean, you know who they might get in though?
They're like sixth. They're like behind,
you know who they might get in because he's definitely getting England caps. Your boy Joe Willock, man. They might get him in there, bro.
Yeah, they might have to. They might have to get him and Damari Gray.
I like that one. That's nice.
We're starting at least.
Anyway. Let's talk about the big game that's coming on Saturday. Feels like, you know, it's been a while since that Watford game, hasn't it? This international break has dragged quite a bit, and we've got another international break in like January, don't we? Is it as close as January?
March. I think not too much.
Is it not too much? Okay, so we've got like 3 or 4 months of just straight football. which is right. That's good to hear. So the game should come thick and fast, even though we're only in like one competition. But you know, it starts now against Liverpool. We've been on this great run. You know, the mood is high. When was last time, you know, we as a football club were in as good spirits as we are now? It's been quite a while, right? Like pre Emery, I would say. You know, back end years of Wenger, we were all quite dejected. So even if we were like 5th or 6th, it never really felt that way because we had fallen so much from our level that, you know, 5th and 6th, we were looking at 5th and 6th as we're looking at like 8th and 9th now. It was the same kind of feeling about it, you know. We just didn't see that upward trajectory. And now I think we're seeing a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Got a few criticisms about the pod last week saying you guys were a bit too negative. You know, it's where's the jubilation, lads? Where is the positive vibes? Where is the good feeling? You know, are you not feeling good?
We're not trying to let the ops dunk on us later in the season. Here.
Fuck
you get
the
me?
ops, man. The ops are behind us. The ops are behind us.
Everyone's being measured. Do you know what's mad? Yeah, is I'm seeing bare the media. They're bigging us up a bit too much. You know, I'm not liking it. I want us to go a bit more under the radar. Want us to go a bit more under the radar. Personally, like I was seeing today on the Premier League app, you know, those articles that they do for fantasy football and that they go the 5 title contenders next fixtures and stuff. They got Arsenal there and stuff like this, and I'm like, you know what, you know, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about all of that, you know, from third parties.
You smile, though.
Yeah, obviously it's nice. It's nice to read, Shabs. It's nice to read, but you know, you got.
That's the thing, though, man.
Keep it easy.
Listen,
the streets are saying that it's Arteta's best 10 to 15 days in the job in his time in that, and I'm saying, God damn, is this what we're?
But the thing is, Shabs, the thing is, you know, since the transfer window's closed, right? You know where we are in the league.
You're gonna tell me something. God,
we're top of the league, mate.
Yes, man. They're gonna do this Touchy Gooners. They're gonna do Arsenal fans since the transfer window.
We are top of the league, my friend.
I don't want to hear this, man.
8 games, 6 wins, 2 draws, 20 points, only 4 goals conceded. You know,
can I give my take on it?
13 How many goals scored?
How many goals scored?
13.
All comps.
Well, it's
all league.
It just in the league,
in 8 games.
Just in the league. Only Chelsea and Liverpool have scored more goals than us. You know, it's only Chelsea have conceded less than us. You know, listen. We are doing something, lads. We are doing something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is yet. All right, I don't know what it is.
Hey, Lewis, shall I load the predictions? Yeah, shall I load the predictions?
Listen. The thing is, I think I was the one that said we'd finish like 6th.
Yeah.
I think I had the highest prediction out of all of us, actually.
You probably did, you know.
Because
that might be true.
I always felt like that the mean of this team, given the run that we saw at the back end of last season, where we brought in Odegaard, we brought in Emil Smith-Rowe, I always felt like the mean of that team was between 4th and 6th, somewhere in that region. We had a poor start to the season, no doubt. But I always felt like this team had the quality to finish in the top 6. And we showed last season that we were capable of putting a run of, 20 games together, where we have between the 4th and the 6th best results in the league. And I could see that continuing this season. And who knows? Maybe we do better than that this season. Maybe we do better than that. Maybe we don't. Maybe we completely fall apart. But I think this game against Liverpool is going to be a good measuring stick to see exactly where we are. Right? Liverpool are not. They're not like. Sorry.
They're not invincible.
They're not invincible. They're not impregnable. They're 2 points ahead of us. You know, considering we lost our first 3 games of the season in embarrassing fashion. Yeah, they're only 2 points ahead of us. So they showed last week against in the last game week against West Ham that listen, you can get at Liverpool. You go toe to toe with Liverpool, you can get at them. And if you go toe to toe with their midfield, you can have a go at them. And I think we have a chance to go to Anfield. And I feel something about this game that I haven't felt about going to Anfield in quite a while. I do feel like we can get a result. I do feel like we can get a result.
Man, they're setting you up for a fall, man.
I don't care. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibilities that we go there and get a draw. I really don't think.
Do you know what? I agree with you. I think it is a time to be optimistic for fans. I think that's right. I think that's valid. I think there are, I don't want to say evidence, there are some indications that, you know, things have been better. Definitely following on from those initial 3 games. I think there are still some things, and I think the reason why some fans feel the handbrake, there are still some things that you still kind of worry about, you still query. Some of that is about the coach himself and his selections and his preferences, although he seems to be more settled now on a on his strongest 11. Still, the way that we attack doesn't entirely convince me. The way that we control games or aren't able to control games still doesn't entirely convince me. And I don't feel that the teams that we've played outside of those first 3 games have been that strong. So I've expected to see more in those games, and I'm satisfied that the results have gone our way. But no, they're mugging you. That I'm satisfied that the results have gone our way.
Do you know what? I looked at that comment. I thought, what's he fucking talking about? And then I looked at Dan with the headset on.
That is crazy.
Mackey's drive-through and that. Yeah,
I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied that the results have gone our way, but there's still something that, like, it still feels like there's something that's missing, and that's fine. Like, you know, maybe we're not where we need to be, but also the other thing is that there's a need for me to be measured, because the Brentford game, we got kind of etched that from history. That was not something that was supposed to happen, and yet they beat us so convincingly. The Chelsea game and the City game, we were well beaten there. Since then, I'd say bar Leicester, we haven't really come up against anyone who I wouldn't have expected to have beaten.
But the only thing I'd say about that, Shabs, right? The only thing I'd say about that, Shabs, right, is if you set our objection and our target at the start of the season as finishing the top 6, right? Who would have been our competitors for top 6? They would have been Tottenham, they would have been Leicester, potentially Villa, some people were saying.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially.
People were saying that.
Some people were saying Villa. But definitely Tottenham and Leicester.
As well, so.
Yeah.
But definitely Tottenham and Leicester, right? We can say that unequivocally.
So I think we have to Chelsea, take. Obviously, City. Yeah,
we haven't played United, and you know, but I think you have to give those wins to teams. But people will say we're poor.
Listen. Don't get me wrong. I respect it. I appreciate it. I'm in a better place than I would have been had we not picked up the points. Definitely. But there's still something that, if people are saying, "Oh, we're negative," I'm not negative. I'm being measured, and I'm explaining the reason why I'm being measured. The reason why there's still a bit of a handbrake on are because there's still certain things which are yet to convince me fully, and that's and that's all it is. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, let's be honest. We all know we need more consistency. We've seen the team put a run together at the end of last season. Now they're putting a run together at the start of this season. How long can this go on for? Are we going to be still around those kind of places in February? I mean, for me, having finished back-to-back 8th, for me, the main thing is finishing in European place. That's my expectation. If he doesn't do that, then he should go. We spent a lot of money. The team looks like it's in a good shape, good age of a lot of players. We have a lot of, we've said this a lot of times, that we think we have a lot of players that we believe in and they can do things on the football pitch. And I think the team is playing now at the level that they should be playing at, and they should have played out more last season. Yeah, we finally found the right formula, and we should be finishing in a European place. But I'm not going to jump the gun, you know, until I see us actually do that, because there's one thing putting a run together of 8-10 games, which we have done before. When we finished 8th, we've done that before. We've done that when he first came in, and when he won the FA Cup as well. We've put runs together. It's more. We need more than that. especially compete with the teams that we're competing against. And at the start of the season, I always said, like, I'm not buying into this thing that, oh, our rivals are too strong, right? Like, they're all going to be too strong. United bought too. Look at what United are doing right now. You know, that's the same thing that happened with Chelsea when Lampard was the manager there. That's the same thing that happened with Liverpool for like half the season the other year. Like, there's always someone that's going to drop out a little bit. You need to be consistent. Yeah, Leicester this year. You need to be consistent. Spurs did that. Spurs competed for the league until December last year. Where did they finish? You know, how many points ahead of us when we were basically fighting relegation for a couple of weeks. So,
Dan, do you not think there is an argument to say we have been consistent though? If you look at the results over the last year, only 2 teams have taken more points than us. Chelsea and Man City, I think it is, isn't it? Are those the teams, Chelsea and Man City?
You know, I think you can argue that in the league. You could argue that in the league, but I think across all competitions, we've taken some L's, man. We have Europa League stuff. I can't lie, that hit my chest differently, man.
It did.
I was. What was that? I was in Monaco. I was watching this game on a small screen, bro. Do you imagine watching that game on a small screen with that lineup? Oh man, I was in severe pain, bro. So listen, I need to get over that. Listen, but it's not easy. So for me, in the league, I think we've been kind of consistent since maybe Jan. Jan. Yeah.
I think a major caveat to that sort of league form is there. I think, you know how people talk about, you know, XG and there being game state, right? I do think that a soft factor involved in that form is the fact that there was basically no pressure on this team to do anything because of how badly we started last season, right? The only way was up in terms of how we've been. And I think that the key thing to point out in last season is that we got ourselves into a position where I think it was, you know, we were, you know, sort of 6-7 points from top 4. Someone will drop points. There'll be an opportunity for Arsenal to capitalize because we're playing after everyone on the Sunday or the Monday because of Europa League. And then and we would fumble the bag, you know. I think we were on a decent run of form last year. There was an opportunity to go within 3-4 points of top 4, then we would lose to Everton. Then there was an opportunity for us to go 3-4 points within top 4, and then we draw to Fulham. And then it was only then big pressure game of the season against Villarreal, as Dan said, we couldn't score 1 goal in open play in 2 legs. You know, we went crashing out. And then once our season was basically over, we then win 5 games again in a row. So I think a big question mark about this team is how we perform when there's pressure on, when something's on the line in the league. Because I think for the past few seasons, we've not been able to pull that game-to-game consistency when something's on the line. And I think just looking at this season as well, I think when you're talking about you know, that thing that's missing, I do think it's the goal scoring side of things from us. So if you look at it, we've scored 13 goals this season in the league, and that was in 8 games. After the first 3 games, we didn't score a single goal. 6 of them have come against Tottenham and Aston Villa, right? So the remaining 7 goals have come in 6 games this season, right? So, you know, that's for me not particularly good enough, especially when you look at the teams that we've played in those 6 games. So, you know, 1-0 against Burnley, 1-0 against Norwich, 1-0 against, who was it that we played the other day? Watford, who I think are in the bottom 5 teams in the league this year. And then you look at a 0-0 at Brighton. Brighton have a good defence this season, so maybe you can give them the bly. But I think going forward, we've not really shown enough for me to have faith. I think defensively, we've been fantastic. I actually will say that much. And that's something that I will have very good optimism about. I like the back 5 and how they're looking, whether that's Tierney or Tavares. I think Tomiyasu's come in and been very good. Ben White, Gabriel Ramsdale seem to have formed a a very good relationship back there between the three of them. So, you know, I will say that the defense is looking good. We're looking compact as a team. We're not giving teams a lot of chances to score against us. But I just think going forward, we're not quite hitting the heights that I think would really inspire fans to, you know, sort of let the, you know, the chains off and start really, really believing that we can do something this season. Because if we're packing Watford 3-0, we're beating Norwich 4-0, slapping Burnley 3-0, I think people would be a lot more confident. Because if you're looking at the table, we've scored half the goals of these other teams. Like West Ham, they're slapping teams. You know, West Ham scored 3 against Liverpool. They're putting teams away and scoring a lot of goals in the process. So that's where I'm just a bit nervous about getting behind them, because if we concede a goal, I'm not sure we've got the, you know, the minerals to go and then score 2 in reply.
It's an interesting point you're saying. You know, I was just quickly having a look at the XG stats. You know, over the last 8 games, you know, they're very much in line with, you know, the amount of goals we've scored. You know, XG for the last 8 games is 13, which is the 6th best in the league, level with West Ham, Brentford, and a little bit less than Man City. So, you know, and Liverpool and Chelsea are, you know, further clear. But I do feel like we are just starting to click a little bit offensively. I know we only beat Watford 1-0, but I think we all said in the post-match, the game really should have been 3 or 4-0. And if not for, you know, a poor game from Aubameyang in terms of finishing wise, we probably should have. And, you know, I do see an improvement in that way, because, you know, the games against Norwich, we didn't really create much. You know, I don't think we could come out of that Norwich game and be like, yeah, we should have won that game 4-0. I think a 1-0 or a 2-0 win in that Norwich game would have been was fair enough. But in that Watford game, I really did feel like something clicked, and we should have scored a lot more. We should have scored a lot more in that game. And offensively, just small signs.
Yeah, sorry to cut in. That was the first, maybe the first, apart from the Spurs game, probably. That was the first game when I felt like, we actually creating a number of openings, and this is what we like been banging on about on the pod for weeks, where we said, listen, most teams create a number of openings and they don't finish the game 5-0 every week. They'll win 1 or 2-0. And this is what happened with us in the Watford game. We still create enough openings to win that game, even with missing a penalty, even with Aubameyang not being good in converting his chances. Even Saka wasn't that great in converting some of the half sort of chances that you get. If you would have lost that game or drew that game, people would be clipping up these half chances, and these chances would be like, you know, this is what happens in football. Players miss chances. We just need to create more openings. And I agree with you, Lou. I think that's the first game when I felt like, okay, they're clicking more. They're playing at a better pace, like a better tempo. And I think it was encouraging in particular in that Watford game because Partey didn't even play. So I felt like there's probably another gear that we can go into in terms of like opening teams up. I felt like Saka again, like it's very like he doesn't even have to score sometimes to just be good. Like he's so secure on the ball. He brings other team members into play. He shields the ball. He protects it so well. He makes a big difference. Then ESR's now he's like, I mean, we know he was very good for the last 6 months. He's another level now. He's scoring goals. He's taking the game, trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck, trying to take responsibility. I mean, Aubameyang's working his socks off. I still don't think his finishing has been up to scratch right now, but he's working hard. He's working off the ball very well. He is always making runs. He's still making those runs. And Lacazette is putting a shift in now. And I think what we now need is for Ødegaard to step up. I think his cameos looked okay. I'm not going to say it was great. I think it was okay. He obviously has quality. I rate the guy a lot, but brother, if you don't start playing properly, man,
we're gonna flog you. And we need options off the bench, and I think that's where Pepe is a big issue for us, really. But even Pepe alone is not even a good Pepe alone is not enough. We need options off the bench, and we need variety as well off the bench, because right now for me, it is one-dimensional. We do look very secure. But I think Arteta's got the defensive balance correct. You know, we look very secure on that side of the map of games. But transitioning into the final third and kind of stepping things up, we're still like a patient footballing side, or we kind of have this option where we can go and hit teams on the break with the way that ESR carries the ball out, and with the way that Saka runs in behind, Oba running the channels, Partey getting his head up and hitting a quick switch. So there's that option there. But yeah, I don't think there's a great deal of variety in our attack and in the way that we can play against teams. If you kind of match us up and leave us open, I think we can create those openings. But the teams that are just elite and defend well, the teams that can match up physically, or the teams that really sit deep and we need to break down, I think they're struggles, man. I think they're struggles. And I think a lot of teams are just going to go out and set themselves up to play that way against us. So I think that's what it is. It still doesn't... I'm happy, but I'm not entirely convinced yet. I think there are still things that I need to see. And that's not me criticizing Arteta. Actually, I think, yeah, credit to him. You know, I'm one who, you know, calls for his head when he's not doing good enough. And I still, you know, I still think there's a lot more room to go. But credit to him for the things that are working well. But we can be better going forward. We can be better creating chances. We can be better moving the ball quicker. We can be better controlling games for longer periods. So still room to go, man.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Liverpool and what we do in this game. You know, Liverpool probably the worst place to go in the Premier League, right? In over the last 3 or 4 years, maybe debatable between that and Etihad, right? No one really wants to go to these places. Me personally is Anfield, because I just feel like we've had games at Etihad where, you know, we've lost like 1-0 and, you know, a bit, you know, we just kind of gone there and rolled over and got a little beat. And obviously we got our ass handed to us this year, but Anfield is where I've suffered some real slappings, you know, at Anfield, and it does give you that bit of anxiety. But also, I look back at the years, and you know, we've had some amazing victories at Anfield. You know, going like 30 years back, we've had amazing victories at Anfield, and you know, a lot of the times against the odds as well, where people didn't expect us to go there and win. And I just want to look at this Liverpool team. I know they've got a few injury concerns, but I don't know how much of that is, you know, them keeping their cards close to their chest. Mind games, you know, they are releasing like pictures of, you know, players back in training and stuff like that. Do we have any expectation on how Liverpool set up, and, you know, any particular weaknesses we see from Liverpool? Because we've seen, you know, Van Dijk is back this year, but a lot of critique about him, saying he is not the Van Dijk of old, which, you know, is fair enough. I mean, if he bloody was, I mean, kudos to that doctor, kudos to his physiotherapy team, because that is a remarkable recovery, right? But do you guys see any flaws in this Liverpool side, and, you know, the side that they potentially will put out against us on Saturday?
I think there's a few ways we can attack them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
It's about executing a game plan and well. I mean, we know he's a fantastic player, Trent, going forward. His crosses are whips. And we should try. I think I remember one game when I think we played like a weird diamond and we just allowed Liverpool to cross, and the strategy was we just head the ball when they're crossed into the box. But the quality of their crosses are too good. They're gonna get 1 or 2 chances of that, and they have pretty good finishes as well. So that was a sort of strategy that I get what the thinking was, but in terms of execution, that's not going to work, because at some point the quality is going to come through.
Was that now, an Emery game?
Yes, that was
one of Emery's games. Yeah, I remember that game was horrible, man. They finished us like 4-0 within the first half or something like that.
So it was just like, I feel like we got to set up to fail. Whereas now I feel like, okay, I don't know if Robertson or that Greek guy is going to play, but I think on the right side for sure, we need to chase down Trent. He can't be allowed just whipping the ball in like at will, like he wants. He needs to be put under pressure, And I think we need to be very, very sort of concentrated in our effort to get in behind him. We know that boy don't like to defend. He don't like to defend. He just doesn't. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a top player with the ball at his feet. One of the best in the world, one of the best right foots of and what football right now, probably in terms of shooting, passing, long, and crossing. But that boy does not like to defend. He does not like running backwards. So we need to make it difficult for him to cross the ball in, and we need to very concentratedly break into his channel. And Van Dijk also doesn't like to engage. So if Van Dijk plays on, I think it probably is Matic that plays on that side. But if Van Dijk was to play on that side, for example, that's a channel where we can get in behind, and there's a defender that's not going to come at you, steaming at you. You can gain time if you have someone like ESR who can carry the ball. So I think that we've actually got a good match to exploit them on that side. That matchup is going to be very interesting. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a super weakness, but it is a weakness that we can exploit. There's also the thinking of their quality is very, very strong. Like Trent and Salah on the same side. Fuck me. Like they could turn up and just do a madness, but I think there is some weakness on our side. We need to try to explore that. And then the second weakness, I think, for me, is I think their midfielders are very sort of they try to force the ball a lot. They play a lot of first-time balls. So I feel like we need to be able to either cut those balls out very, very fast and very quickly, or be very good at defending those balls and then breaking from them. Essentially, I feel like we know certain weapons that they utilize. We need to try minimize them, or have a very good plan in place for when it doesn't work to the level that they want. So that's how I think I approach the game. I think Liverpool, in terms of the way they play, very predictable. Very predictable. They're not going to switch it up, but it's just very hard to stop. And that's where our plan needs to be, rather than trying to think. I think, when you play against Pep, he might do something different. He might do something crazy. Liverpool are not going to do that. You know what they're going to do, but trying to stop them or counteracting them is the difficult part. And I think what West Ham did really well is they pressured them in midfield. Their passing wasn't as effective because they were put under pressure. The first time things didn't work, they had less confidence in playing it through the middle, through the lines. You have to be physical with them as well, midfield, because they will be physical with you. So I feel like midfield, definitely we need Partey in there, and we need Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I can't lie. This is a boy. He's got the physical capabilities to go backwards and forwards. I need him to be on game. Listen, I mean, Lokonga is doing okay, but I don't think he has the intensity or physical capabilities to compete in a game that could be potentially hectic. And I've seen Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I mean, Real references this game every 12 hours. But we've seen him in an away game at a big side do really well. He did it against United. That was a hectic game, physical game.
In a very weak team as well. He really weak team.
Another Ainsley Maitland-Niles classic. Yeah, is that what you man saying?
He's had good games against Liverpool before.
He's had it as well,
he locked
Salah in one of our victories, didn't? One of our victories at the Emirates.
Locked him down. So when I was saying what I was saying about Tierney, people was like, "No, he has." I was like, "Nah, man, we're mistaken." Ainsley, I remember Ainsley locking down Salah and being able to deal with him. I don't remember Tierney doing it too many times, if I'm being honest with you.
Salah's never scored whilst Tierney's been on the pitch.
I think they worked quite well together. I think it was Tierney at left centre back and
but Ainsley's been the lockdown 1v1 guy, and that's what I mean more than anything. But I mean, I completely agree. I agree with German Dan. I mean, my thoughts about how you get at them and where their weaknesses are, definitely Trent's side more than Robertson's side. But if you play and target the ball in behind their fullbacks, I think it's an obvious vulnerability. It's a bit of a soft spot for them, both sides as well. I think Robertson obviously is the more competent defensive player, but he still gets up a lot. I think Saka can cause some problems for there, and if we can switch the ball, if we can win the ball back quickly in the midfield and get the ball in behind the left or right fullbacks to ESR, to Saka, I think we've got chances of hurting them there. I think Oba up against Virgil van Dijk. For the physical battle, I'd say no. But if there are situations where you can get him isolated and in a foot race, because Virgil don't look like, Virgil don't look like he can run with the intensity that he was able to prior to the injury. There were a couple times in that Brentford game where he just looked like he couldn't. We were talking about Tony in the air, but actually anything on the ground, Virgil was really struggling with to cover ground, to get across. There were moments where, he was livid with his defensive partner, saying, "Oh, you need to make these runs. You need to cover me." Do you know what I mean? So there are telltale signs there. But Brentford definitely gave us a bit of an indicator against Liverpool about how you set up and how you play with intention against them. I think there was a hint of good fortune in the Brentford game, but Brighton done it again. Again, very good blueprint. And then West Ham done it the other day. So, yeah, there are opportunities, but it is about being able to match their physicality and their intensity. I think, especially in the middle of the park.
Yeah, we definitely need to get Virgil something to think about, man, because this guy he's playing football like a IT desk manager right now, just hella delegating, bro. Let this man work on something, bro.
It's interesting that you guys mentioned that, this ball in behind that potentially could hurt Liverpool. And I remember the game at Emirates last year that we lost 3-0. And, the first half wasn't great. I remember Tierney went off injured at halftime. We just completely collapsed in the second half. But one of the key things about that game that really stood out to me was that it was one of our only games without Emil Smith-Rowe. And it was no coincidence to me that we just lacked an outball. And it was one of the games that really stood out to me in terms of, we were debating at the time, Ødegaard, Emil Smith-Rowe, who's the better player, who has the biggest influence on our team. And it was that game that I said, that game kind of contributed to my thinking that Emil Smith-Rowe is a better player than Ødegaard. Ødegaard completely disappeared in that game. He didn't want to, he just didn't have the tools in his arsenal to deal with what, the game plan that we were trying to execute. And, you talk about this ball in behind, and Emil Smith-Rowe, we've seen him do it numerous times this season. But, his great games against Chelsea, against Spurs have all been that little thinking behind, him getting onto the end of things, causing havoc in that half space. And I feel like that, not in that half space, in that wide space, sorry. And I do feel like that game at the Emirates last season where we lost 3-0, we just had none of that. We had no. Ødegaard is so ball orientated, that he wants an out ball to Ødegaard is, he needs to be, he's not getting beyond anyone. He's taking the ball maybe on the half turn or, in deep little pockets, but that doesn't help you relieve pressure all the time. Sometimes you have to go direct. You have to get your team up the pitch, give Trent something to think about. If Trent is running more towards his own goal, then that's good for us because he's going to think twice about keeping on bombing forward. And I think there's no better player for us and maybe, right now in the Premier League than someone like Emil Smith-Rowe making those runs in behind. We've seen him score some great goals this year, doing that exact same thing. And I do think he's going to be, if we're going to get anything from this game, it's going to be an Emil Smith-Rowe game.
Yeah.
He's going to be the key in this game, I think.
I think that's really spot on. I think that whole left side is a big ask, and it's going to be a lot of responsibility played on Smith-Rowe if he's playing on that left, and Tavares or Tierney, whoever plays out of the two of them. Personally, I would go with Tavares because I think in terms of that question mark that you're talking about, giving them something to think about going the other way. When you are under a lot of pressure, having someone there who can drive from your own half, take a couple of people out of the game, come back onto his right foot and play off his right foot as well is really, really helpful. And I think as well, it's a game, this game, it's Liverpool away. I think it is a game of big personalities because I think you know, for all the game plans that we've spelt out today, you know, trying to play the ball in behind, look for the out ball, etc. Liverpool are the kind of team that they suffocate you, and they say no matter what your plan is to stop us, you know, we're gonna pam you, you know, and they keep you camped in your own half. And I think it was the Man City Liverpool game where Klopp even said, you know, sometimes City are just so good that they stop you from playing your way. And then he had to give them sort of a hairdryer treatment at halftime, saying, you know what, you're giving them too much respect, and you're not playing your football. In the second half, they improved. And I think where we've sort of struggled in recent years at Anfield is that, you know, we've not necessarily had the personalities to, you know, sort of show that bravery and try and play that game, maybe play out of the press that Liverpool try and do. And I think it's a big game for the likes of Ramsdale. It's a big game for the likes of Gabriel and Ben White, in terms of keeping that line pushed up, rather than sinking back into your box. If Partey's fit, it's a big game for him that we've seen him do it at Anfield for Atletico Madrid. You know, play out of the press, win your duels against the likes of Fabinho, Henderson, and who else. And I think the fact that Wijnaldum's actually gone is a big plus point for teams playing against Liverpool, because I think Fabinho without Wijnaldum this season, I think when teams have, you know, come onto him physically, he struggled without the legs there next to him, because Henderson, you know, he's had a lot of injuries this year. Curtis Jones, he's injured. So, you know, you're really looking at the likes of Keita, Thiago, James Milner, and these guys to sort of be the legs in midfield. And so, you know, I think the dual guys that we have there, the dual winners, Partey, Maitland-Niles, if they really, you know, sort of show the personality to go out, win those duels. Dan, I think you mentioned in the group, you know, Rice and Souček, you know, on the ball, they're not particularly fantastic, you know, but, you know, on the transition, in the duels, they're top. So, you know, if you're saying to Liverpool, we're not going to let you just walk all over us, we're not going to let you just press us, we're going to win our duels as well, we're going to come out with the ball. I think we need some personality in this game, you know, and it's obviously it's a young squad, but it's a big ask of some of these guys. And I just hope that we see some of that personality, because I think the guys are capable.
You know, I've got one thing to add. Well, I think it's going to be an avenue for goals for us potentially in this game, and that's set pieces. We've been very, very, very successful from set pieces in the last couple of games. And correct me if I'm wrong, when I've watched Liverpool, when they concede, it's been set pieces.
Set pieces been pamming them this season, against them.
These boys don't want to see Gabriel on the paint. They don't want to see him, bro. I'm telling you.
And Partey now.
Yeah, Partey.
I do think that's a big avenue, especially corners. I think that
they've only conceded 3 from set pieces, but
how many in that West Ham game? 2,
I think. It might be a bit of. West Ham are big on set pieces. Like they're an issue for absolutely everyone.
I think we've got more set pieces than them, though.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I think we've got more set pieces than them.
Yeah.
Arsenal are top, but Liverpool are also top, joint top with us about scoring set pieces. So
I think Brentford.
Maybe they do want to see Gabriel on the paint.
I think Brentford caused them a lot of issues from set pieces and long balls as well. Even though I don't think they scored from them, I think watching that match when I was bowing in the Discord and that,
they were
you know, you know, we were screaming VVD's name a lot in that game because he was getting dunked on. So, you know, I think even if you're not scoring from them, it's a way of creating pressure, you know, and making the defenders feel a bit of unease. Firstly, if you're dangerous from those attacking situations. So, you know, I think it's a free hit for us.
They've actually, I'm just checking their XG against stuff here. So they've got an XG against of over 4 from set pieces this season. So that's, you know, that's quite a lot. Just to put that in comparison to us, XG against 3 for us. So What that means, who knows? You know, just put it
means both teams to score, yeah, from a set piece. Yeah,
both teams score from a set piece. Hook it or book it. Sky bet.
Yeah, but I think this game's a free hit for us, man. I think it's like people are saying it's a test, but you know, I think it's more about the performance and the intent of how we try and play. I think Liverpool can be got at, but you know, it's been a techie ground for us in recent years. You know, I was saying to Fahi on the Patreon piece that's coming out that we ain't won there since 2012. You know, so it's a long day. It's a long day. But saying that, one at Old Trafford, first time 14 years last season. One at Stamford Bridge, first time in 10 years last season. So you know, maybe Arteta can start building on some good records for us rather than the bad ones.
Yeah, 100%. Just before we wrap things up, then I do want to talk about just some key position team choices for us. Sorry. You know, most of the team pretty much speaks for itself, right? You know, we've got a very consistent team now where there aren't really any contentious, you know, places up for grabs. You know, some might say that's a bad thing, not enough competition, but I quite like it. I quite like having that settled team in that we know is going to go onto the pitch with, you know, maybe 2 or 3 players that you rotate in and out of that. One of the players up for, you know, discussion, one of the positions up for discussion actually is, you know, the left back spot. You know, would you guys keep rolling the dice with Tavares? You know, he's been in great form. He's done really well. He offers something a little bit different to what Tierney does. Tierney a lot more conventional. You know what you're gonna get. Or would you bring Tierney back in? Not played for a month. Bit of a really tough game to bring Tierney back into. Actually, I guess it all depends on fitness, right? How fit is Tierney? Did he play for Scotland in midweek? I'm not too sure if
he did. Yeah,
he played both games. Games.
Right. Okay, that's interesting then. I mean, the only thing I wouldn't want to start Tierney and then after 45 minutes we have to bring him off. I just feel like that's so unsettling. I don't like that at all.
I'm starting Tavares.
Same.
I'm starting Tavares.
Yeah,
I think Tavares and Isa are building a good chemistry and connection at the moment, and they've played quite well in the last couple of games together. Mm-hmm. I think Tierney is obviously very good, but he's not had a great season so far, and especially going forward, I don't think he's been that good. So Tavares has been quite good going forward, and he's offered us sort of like a bit of a measured chaos factor. Like we don't quite know what he's doing, but he's somehow doing it, kind of thing, you know. So and him and ESR work together quite well. And Tavares really, I think, most of them Tierney probably busts a gut to get forward when the ball is when we transition.
Carries it so well, doesn't he?
Yes, I think he really busts a gut, and even to overlap and give that added option to ESR. I think maybe he's helped ESR in that regard to create more space for him. So I feel like let these boys play together again. They've done pretty well in the last couple of games. And Tierney, even though he's played 2 games for Scotland, he's not played in how many league games for Arsenal? I don't see the point in getting him back in our team just yet.
Shabs, what about yourself?
Yeah, I wouldn't risk Tierney for all of the reasons you've given above. Anfield away, that brother is going to be running. He's going to be running. Those legs are going to be working. And that's a risk factor. If we're keeping it 100, it's a risk factor for Tierney. I don't want Tierney to come back into the mix in a game which we know is going to be played at a certain level of intensity. I don't want to see him breaking down after half an hour. I don't want to see him, us being forced into a first half sub, which might disrupt our game plan or give them the edge or whatever. And he might already be over by that stage. Who knows? But yeah, part of it is because of that. The other part is because I just think Tavares is I like the form that he's demonstrated coming into it. I think he's good on the overlap, but also he's good on the underlap as well. He can carry the ball inside, so there is that chaos factor. He can invert, and he can invert his movement. He can invert his runs. He inverts his carries with the ball in terms of the way that he starts dribbling at left back and carries the ball out over to all the way over to Saka's side, and we've seen that happen a few times. You know, in just like in like 4 or 5 seconds, the ball's gone from left wing back to right wing. So, you know, yeah, man, I'm sticking with Tavares for the game. I'll be honest with you.
Dan, Koogs, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm the same, man. I think you know, Tavares, it would be unfair on him to drop him for a big game. I think he's played his way into contention. And I think, you know, if it's a proper meritocracy and whatnot, someone who's been playing that well in these other games should get the nod to try and impress in a big game like against Liverpool. And I do think, you know, with the type of threat that Liverpool have, I like Tavares for this game. I think the fact he's 2-footed will help us. Shabs has mentioned being able to play on the inside and the outside. His ability to carry the ball and potentially be an out ball for us, and his actual PMP factor and ability to get up and down. I think is a real strength. And to be fair to Kieran Tierney, he's got quite good PMP himself. I think he's the fastest player at the club, according to top speeds and all of that stuff. But I think with Tierney, after he comes back from an injury as well, it takes him a little bit of time, I think, to hit top form. He's not one of these guys that comes back in and then you get the best Tierney straight away. So I would say let's try and ease him back into the side. We've got some easier games coming up. I think it's Newcastle at home. The next match after Liverpool, that can be a game where you drop Tierney in and see how he's doing for 90 minutes and whatnot. We've got League Cup games coming up as well after that. So, you know, I think Tavares deserves to start this game. I saw some people speculating about playing both him and Tierney, but I'm not sure if that's the right shout for this one. I'd like to see us, you know, keep doing what we're doing.
Go into a back three.
Yeah, either a back three or play
Tavares
left wing and stuff like that. It's
I wouldn't revert away from what we're doing well. I really wouldn't. Yeah. I don't really see, you know, the point of that. I think no, just not for me. Not for me anyway. The other position maybe you know, up for grabs is that centre midfield position. Looks like it's going to be a shootout between Maitland-Niles and Lokonga. Lokonga probably is further ahead in the pecking order. Is that fair to say? Maybe because he's the shiny new signing, and
I think
he's been playing more of the games. But
yeah.
I think Ainsley has been the most impressive out of the two, even though Lokonga has definitely improved in recent weeks. But you guys made points earlier about, you know, having to be really strong in duels and, you know, win that midfield battle. And I think Lokonga hasn't quite shown it yet. He hasn't been poor. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't like, I don't think he's been bossed about or anything. He showed against Leicester. You know, Leicester, very strong midfield, very, very physical midfield. Played very well in that game. You know, he played against Spurs, didn't he? Lokonga. Can't remember. Villa. Very strong in that game. So, what are you guys thinking with the midfield situation and a partner to Partey?
Yeah, for me, it depends on whether Partey is fit and available. But if he is, if I had to pick out of the two, I'm having.
Why is he not available?
I think there was a precaution, wasn't there?
He missed the last game, and he didn't play either game for Ghana in this international break. So
right,
it might be to be seen. Yeah, but yeah, we don't know, and that's a worry for me. But these are issues for another pod, to be fair. But it depends on Partey's availability. If Partey's fit, who I want to partner him out of the options that we have is Ainsley Maitland-Niles in that game away from home at Liverpool, where I don't think we're going to see much of the ball at midfield. I don't think we're going to have a lot of time on the ball. Again, the argument there sometimes against Ainsley has been about his quality with the ball. For me, this will be a pick based on what he can do out of possession and what he gives us. And I like his mobility. I like the way he gets around. I was talking about him last week on the pod. I like his use of his body. I think it's very intelligent usage of his body, where he's able to keep up with his man athletically, and then he just uses his body to kind of get in the way, and he inconveniences his opponent and wins the ball back intelligently there. Doesn't really have to commit fouls, doesn't really make erratic decisions on the defensive side. So yeah, and I think I can rely on him in terms of his spacing, his capacity to cover ground, but also his initial positioning as well. I think there's some good things there about Ainsley.
100%. I agree. I think I'd prefer Ainsley Maitland-Niles in this game, just because I feel like I know I'm going to get that physical, that I know I'm going to get that out of him. I've still got Ainsley Maitland-Niles kind of like PTSD of, him just falling asleep in midfield, but he does seem like he's maturing a bit as a footballer. He's, I love the comments from Arteta about him, being, more on the ball, his attention to details improving, concentration improving. Because those are things that we've all spoken about with Ainsley, right? It's maybe not so much the football side of things, it's the up here, are you invested in being, everything that you can be in on the football pitch? And it's good to hear, man. And I hope he does get the nod, because if he puts a performance in that game, it's the kind of game that could really transform his whole career. Like not to make it sound like, do or die kind of thing, but it's a game where if he has a great game in that game, all of a sudden it goes from, could Ainsley Maitland-Niles be the partner for Partey in midfield? Could that be a thing? Does he then become hit the first choice there? And I think it's a huge game for whoever plays in that midfield with Partey. If they have a good game, it's a really great chance for them in print to put their stamp on this Arsenal team and make that centre mid position their own. I'm assuming we're all for Lacazette playing as well over Odegaard, or sorry?
Yeah, sorry. Just to go back on Tavares, maybe I'm bugging, man, but I've been reading some tweets, and I do think Tavares kind of reminds me a bit of Alphonso Davies, man, in terms of how fast he is, how much PMP he's got. He's left-footed, but comes on his right foot quite a bit. I really see a lot of potential with Tavares now. So yeah, and that's all I wanted to add. And then on your question, yeah, I think Lacazette's got a start. He gives you. We're talking about having to be able to compete physically in the middle of the park. And I think what Lacazette definitely gives you is he works hard. He will put his body about. His ball head will be everywhere, trying to fight for the ball. I think he does make a good effort in pressing it and disrupting the opposition midfield. I don't really think he gets close enough to the centre backs to press them, but in terms of pressing the midfielders, he's actually quite good at that. So I would definitely start Lacazette. I think Odegaard. I know early on in the season people were sort of like giving him praise for his pressing, but really I think it's good, but it's not outstanding. I feel like Lacazette's pressing is probably better. He's a willing presser, Odegaard, but the effectiveness of his pressing still, it's not groundbreaking. And what he really should be giving us is ability on the ball. But I think this is going to be a transition-heavy game for us, so the ball needs to be loose. And I think Lacazette can cause loose balls. So yeah.
What about you guys, Dan and Shabs?
Yeah, I think. I think Lacazette has to start for the reasons Dan said. We're talking about a physical game, people winning duels. I think Lacazette also is very good at winning free kicks in the opposition half as well. And maybe later in the game, if Liverpool are chasing, Odegaard might be someone useful to come on later and probably help us keep it a little bit. and maybe play a final ball. I think when we played at Anfield last season, was it last season where they were only winning 1-0? Ceballos came on and he was quite effective for the last 30 minutes. Played some nice balls into Lacazette, who then missed and fluffed his lines, missed a couple one-on-ones before they obviously scored.
It was 2-1. We went 1-0 up. Lacazette actually scored early on.
We went
1-0 up.
So I think, if it's something like that might work again. For me, I think Lacazette, like Tavares, I think doesn't really deserve to be dropped, and I think a game at Anfield is a game for Lacazette and what he brings to the side. So I'd play him as well.
Lacazette's actually got a decent goal scoring record against Liverpool as well. Just decent record in general. 3 goals, 2 assists in 9 games. For big games, it's not the worst. It's pretty decent 1 in 3. So and we know Lacazette, he loves a goal against the big teams as well. He's got a really good goal scoring record against the big teams. So I would definitely be looking to start Lacazette. And just the last one really to finish up on is Dan, Leno or Ramsdale?
What kind of question is this, brother?
Just
answer the question, man.
Just ask him, brother.
Answer the question, man.
I mean, it's Ramsdale, isn't it? So.
Got him.
I got him. I got something hot for you. Leo, I was gonna let you off, but I got something for you now, my brother. Let me ask you a question as well, because let me play this first, and I'll ask you the question. Let me find that, man. You feel me?
By the way, hope you guys all know.
Hold on, let me play that again.
By the way, hope you guys all know that chance that ESR got yesterday. Willock tucks it.
So let me ask you, ESR or Willock?
Obviously, my boy ESR, isn't it?
Oh, your boy,
my boy ESR. I've always believed in him.
This guy is
him.
This guy really tries to put me on the cross. I ain't Jesus, brother.
Listen,
don't do that to me.
Listen. I always said ESR is better than Willock. You, my friend, didn't think Ramsdale was better than Leno.
Yeah, and I don't mind admitting that, but you definitely didn't always think ESR.
I always said.
Have you always said that, Lewis?
Always. Yeah, I took the piss out of ESR, and
when Willock why were you? Why were you?
It's the gender, innit? I don't know why I had the gender. I can't work it out. I just felt like you guys were very harsh on Willock.
So German Dan, let me just clarify this though. So what Ramsdale is better than Leno?
I didn't say better.
No, because you said
nice line of question in there, Shabs.
No. When they asked just now, you said yes. I said, you think Ramsdale's better than Leno?
I mean, Ramsdale, we don't have a.
We got him.
I literally said that last week.
We got him.
No, you don't have me. I literally said that last week.
You didn't need a sample size to say Leno was better.
Leno's been here like 2 years. We pretty much know his level. So
is he better than Ramsdale?
I don't think he is right now. No. I don't know what you guys trying to achieve. I already said in the group. You're trying to keep me aside. These are the same man, that will say, Lokonga reminds me of Yaya Toure, man. You must do your thing. Shabs a real one, man. You must do your thing, man.
Hey, Vincent Company said it, not me.
No. You were telling me what Yaya Toure is doing at 22 years old, and then say, look what Lokonga is doing.
We're not going to do that on the pod. No, we're not going to do that on the pod.
You man, do your thing with Lokonga, man.
We're not going to come on the pod.
I can't lie. I heard Shabs' point. You man weren't watching Beveren.
This is
you man weren't watching Beveren.
Man are talking about man are talking about Lokonga and comparing 22-year-old Lokonga to the player that Yaya took to the best version of Yaya Toure.
That's not true.
At Lokonga's age, Yaya Toure was playing with Graham Stack in the Belgian fucking second division, bro.
That's not what people do in that talk. People comparing the skill set.
He was failing.
No.
He was failing his trial at Arsenal.
Did he fail at Arsenal? I thought it was a work permit issue that stopped him from signing.
That was a work permit issue.
Nah, man, he did not. He got trial.
Hey, listen, said no. No one is comparing what they where they are at their age. We're comparing a skill set. What are their skills? Yeah. It's the same way people were comparing Willock to Yaya Toure, forgetting that Yaya Toure can actually pass the ball and control the midfield.
Could he always?
When we're doing
Just
these
comparing one
comparisons-
aspect of a man's game to another aspect of a man's game is not a good comparison. It has to be several aspects. And there's not enough aspects for Lokonga.
Depends on the comparison, though, right? I could say
now to comparing Lokonga now in this early stage of his career to the player that we know Yaya Toure has been, like badding up the Premier League, badding up at Barca, like all these things that he's done. That's not a fair or just comparison. That wasn't the point.
We compare Emil Smith Rowe to Riziki. It doesn't mean Emil Smith Rowe is better than Riziki.
Yeah.
No, but there are several, as I literally said, there are several parts of his game.
German Dan, you're taking this on. This wasn't even your beef, you know.
No. Listen, I like taking beef on, man. I like it.
This wasn't even yours. I don't know why you're bearing it now.
On, brother. You know, I'm in the group every day. You know, I like arguing, bro.
Listen, I told you.
I'm out here, yeah.
Listen, you want to stand next to your
Watch out
brother.
for me.
Yeah? You want to stand next to your brother, yeah, when these shots are. When these shells are flying,
when we spin the block on this Yaya Toure thing, man, just be ready on
you're
that.
You're gonna be a bystander. I don't want that for you, bro. I'm trying
to any man saying that they had Canal Plus, yeah,
Canal Plus,
age 12 and age 13, yeah.
Hey, I didn't say all that, Baba.
I don't want to put man on blast, but man was talking about he was studying tape of Yaya Toure when
you might have nasty, bro.
How, Sway? How?
Listen.
Anyway, I think German Dan's been cooked enough, man. Let's let him go and get his Baileys. And, you know.
Hey, Lou flipped it, yeah. He flipped it, yeah. He flipped it from himself getting cooked. He managed to drag German into it, yeah.
This guy is crazy, man.
Anyway, we'll call it a night there.
Anyway, let me ask that question back to everyone here. Does everyone conclusively think Ramsdale's better than Leno then, yeah?
Yeah.
I think right now what we've seen from Ramsdale.
Right now, FC.
We haven't seen this from Leno, you know. I think the command of his area, the clear sort of communication and relationship that he's built with the centre backs and his distribution, we've not seen that from Leno. So, you know, I think Leno's shot stopping, I still think Leno's better than him. Based on what I've seen, but even then, Ramsdale has pulled off some really, really good stops. So I can't really hand on heart say, right, based on how Ramsdale has been playing for Arsenal, that he's not better than Leno. But I definitely need to see this over a longer sample size before I can conclusively stamp it.
Which is exactly what I said. So, Shabs, what are you saying?
I'm saying that if Leno starts on Saturday against Liverpool, we're in big trouble.
Hey, this guy's avoiding the question. Oh my God!
My answer, bro. That's what. Listen, don't ask me my opinion. No, don't ask me my opinion. I'll give it to you.
No. I'll ask you a question. You got to answer the question.
I answered it, bro.
Hey, if you're in court, you know the judge will tell you to come back and answer this. Come on, man.
Listen, I've wrangled my way out of court many a time, bro. I'm good. I'm good. You see me, my big age. I'm a free man.
I'll take it as a W. You know, you don't want to answer.
You, bro. These are the type of wins that you want to clutch onto, boy. Be my guest.
It's clutching, man.
I'll grab my own wins, and I will be back, man. When Tavares is better than Tini as well, I'll be back, man.
Hey, Dan, Shabs, you guys are on the what do we call it now? The versus the fight card. Sorry, you're on the fight card tomorrow.
Yeah,
don't let us down, lads. Don't let us down.
Yeah,
that's going to be a difficult one. I know these man.
It's going to be a difficult one. I'll tell you what. Victory is you get 4 players in, right? That's victory.
4 players.
Right? 4 players.
I'm not going to lie. 4 players might be tough.
Ramsdale is one. Ramsdale has to be in, right? Because we know. Not to give the tactics away, but we're an hour and a half into the pod. They're not going to listen to this stuff, right? They're not going to listen at hour. And if they do, they're neeks, right? They're absolutely.
We can get a centre.
What you're hearing is unique, bro.
We can get a centre back in because Van Dijk is finished, right? Van Dijk's finished. Benjamin White or Gabriel has to be in, right? We get Ramsdale in because Alisson's been on banter this season, right? Chimikas, no, we're putting Nuno Tavares in. We're fighting for every single one of these, all right?
Yeah.
Right back.
We can get Partey in.
No, we can't get right.
It's a tough one.
No, we can get Partey
Partey
and
in.
ESR in.
And we'll get ESR in.
Yeah, that's it.
Saka or Salah?
That's job done, man. Job done.
It's a
Job
techie
done.
one.
Job done.
Yeah, but we might be able to do with something, with getting Salah up front, and we take the 2 wide positions. Me and Dan pulled this one last time.
Yeah, we done it.
Yeah.
We pulled
Shabs,
this one
Shabs,
last
let's
time.
talk. Shabs, we'll talk.
Yeah,
you might devise a
Just
strategy.
think tactics, right?
strategize.
Give them one to get one elsewhere, right?
wait.
It's chess, not checkers, all right? It's chess, not checkers, as my
Devise
man
a
Denzel
strategy.
Washington
We
said.
might come run and works with Oba as a centre forward.
I was going to say, you can run Oba as a centre forward.
Run and works with Oba.
Yeah, but they're going to want Salah or Mane. If you could
Or
con them
Jota.
to put
Be
like,
careful of that one as well.
to move Salah up front, and we get the 2 wide positions, that's more for us, isn't it? It's more numbers for us.
Don't let these man try get Thiago in these discussions, man. Don't let them do that.
No. Not
Yeah,
having it.
Dan, we'll chop it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we'll
guys,
chop it up.
I look forward to listening. Unfortunately, I can't be on, but Shabs and Dan Koogs, I'm sure you're going to hold it down and bring the victory home.
Man, you know what we do, man. You know what we do.
And then hopefully we get the we get a result on
Anfield.
Saturday.
That's the one. That's the one I need, man.
Yeah. Well, let's do some score predictions just before we close up. We'll finish on this. Shabs, what about you? You start off. Score predictions.
Oh, I'm hoping for a draw. You know, I think a draw is a good result for us, and I think 1-1. I want to say.
Nice, like it. I love the optimism, Shabs. German Dan.
Oh my god!
Wait.
They want to get me on the foul. I can't lie, Anfield. I can't bring myself to think that we're gonna get points there.
You're thinking about the occasion too much, man. Think about the game, not the occasion. The game.
I think 2-1 loss. Sorry, lads, man.
Listen, Brighton have got points at Anfield this season.
I'm riding the wave, man. We're gonna pack them in, yeah. I'm riding the wave.
Go on,
Hey,
Dan.
I hope so. Bro. I hope so.
2-1
win.
Yeah, to win. Yeah.
Oh.
Liverpool have
I'm
only
riding
won
the
2
wave,
games at home this season. 2
Against who?
games. 2 out of 5. They
Against who?
beat who they beat? They haven't won at Anfield for a while. They beat Burnley at home, and they beat Palace at home. But they've drawn to Chelsea. They've drawn to Brighton, and they drew to Man City. Come on, Dan, make it a full house.
Hey, man,
Positive results.
I'm not budging to peer pressure, man. 2-1 loss.
I'm gonna go with Shabs. I think we'll get 1-1.
I hope so, but
That's a W for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, anything other than a loss, I think, is a fantastic result at Anfield. I can't lie to you.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, then let's call it a night. We'll be back. Are we doing a? We'll do a post-match Patreon for the Liverpool game, right? Yeah.
Let's see the result
And
first.
also-
Brother.
And also, there's a Patreon piece coming out as well, or will be out by the time this pod goes out, which is a cross-platform quarter season review, basically. So look out for that as well.
Definitely. And a reminder, Patreon, tune in. We'll try and do it straight after the game on Saturday. If you want that, if you don't want to wait until Thursday to get your TouchyGooners content, sign up to the Patreon. You can get it on Saturday evening. But anyway, guys, we'll leave it there. Take it easy. Bless.